Hello friends, it's Em, and today we are diving in to the daily grind. So, full disclosure, I did receive this gifted product and I do have an affiliate link, but all thoughts, opinions, reviews, etc. are my own. So please hold. So I am going to be setting up a book journal with their planning system. Oh, I think when I plopped this down, the discs opened. But this is sort of, apart from, the discs being open, this is sort of what you expect your order to look like. So they have a ton of inserts. And then if you want, you would also buy a cover and discs for the insert or the planner, etc. So here's what I got. I got the 40-page monthly calendar themed insert, the 35-page habit tracking challenge, the book tracker, which is the reading challenge. Oh my god. Oh, this is 4 months of daily grind sheets. Okay, for a second I thought that this was just dot grid paper, and it very well might be, but I was very confused. I was like, it's thick. And then we have a deluxe cover. So they have a lot of fun, bright colors, which I just wasn't feeling for right now. So instead I went with a deluxe. I don't know if this is actually leather or if it's vegan leather or whatever. It's nice that they, it really clasps. And then it says daily grind on it right there, which is cute. All right, so let's get this set up. So we're gonna put the discs on. I haven't done this in a very long time, so forgive me if I'm slow. But these tabs are very sturdy, which I like. And I also like that there's no holes in the discs. I always felt like I was getting things stuck in them, or it was making it difficult for things to actually turn. Now, if you don't like this size of disc, the good news is that, there are lots of places where you can purchase the discs themselves if you want something smaller, or if you want something bigger, because as you can see, I have a lot of trackers going into this, so I might not be putting everything in this planner at once. So my goal here is to kind of set up a monthly reading journal. Oh, did I miss one? No, you just get an extra disc. Okay, cool. Is to set up a monthly reading journal with and just sort of show how you could do that in the daily grind system. I think I messed this up. I think I should have done this in a different way. I'm putting my whole arm into this. I'm also very hungry, which does not necessarily relate to this, but it relates to my mindset while I'm doing this, I guess. Let's start with the monthly calendar. What I liked about this is that it's also kind of coloring pages. So if you really enjoy the, wait, what? Okay. I was very confused for a moment, because this is like the overview if you were to hold it on your desk, but this is the overview for in your planner. So what I would do is I would set it up something like this, where I would have my January, and here you would or you could track every, when you start a book and when you finish a book, and just sort of do the highlights that way. And then I'm gonna do the same thing but for February, for all the months in the year. Let me just say it that way before we start thinking that I don't know what month it is. Which is, I mean, to be fair, it's March 1st, so I really don't know what month it is. But I do like that there is that dot grid on the back, and it is pretty thick paper. I'm not a GSM expert by any way, shape, or form, but I definitely prefer it when it is, it doesn't have to be 160 GSM, but if it's 120 or higher, that is my little happy spot. And so I'm just putting these off to the side for now. I don't know necessarily what I would do with them. You could, if you have a lot of discs, you could make like a cute little flip calendar where that's just like your monthly. But if you are a daily grind aficionado, please tell me how you would use those or how they're intended to be used, because I don't really know. And then in between each of these, this is going to be the fun part. So in between each month, what I want to do, and we're going to see how this goes, is put in the reading sheets. So they have like, I'm 90% sure of this. That there are like shelves and stuff like that. All right, and then this is December. So this is an entire year of just monthlies. And you could do some gluing or whatever. Oh, and then you get a little bonus month at the end. That's so nice, especially because like if you start this midway through the year or you wanted to do like an undated, that's actually really useful. All right. So we're gonna flip back to, let's say March, because it's currently March. And what you could do also is if you wanted to use this as sort of like how I do my book bullet journal, you could use this as your quote page, this is your cover page, and then there's your monthly. So now let's go to the book tracker. This is the 4-month reading tracker and challenges. Oh my god, if I can figure out how to open this. Okay. So you again have the sort of little cover pages. And okay, here we go. So our tracker is not just a reading journal insert, it's a companion on your reading adventure. Interesting. Okay, so you can either use the pages of this insert in order or you can take what you need. So here the goal is to sort of just get you started on reading, which I agree with. I agree with that. So you can, don't be afraid to DNF, yes. So I am an avid reader for sure. Let's see how this would work for me. And then there are a number of reading challenges as well. Well, I quite enjoy that. Now I would say, yeah, okay, so this is like a table of contents. I almost wish that it was on, that was on the back of the cover page so that it was more like this. But let's, okay, because then, oh my goodness. Okay, so we have a lot of like how to use this, which I feel like if it, you know, if it's really intuitive, you wouldn't need that. Okay, so they have a draw your own shelf, a 50 books shelf. Are they all? Okay. Let's just, maybe I'll use these as a guide once I'm like sort of going through it. Okay. So here, this is a draw your own, so you can fit as many books as you wanted on this shelf, and you have a front back there. Then there's one where it's drawn for you. So this has 50 books on it, and I believe it might be, one second, it says 50 books. I'm just gonna count them really quick. I'm wondering if it's 25 on one side, 25 on the other. Okay, no. So it'll be 50 books on this side and 50 books on the other side. Then this one is 100 books there and there. So what I would say then is that I don't think you need to use all of these at once. I think that what you could do is sort of narrow it down a little bit. So you would go, if you're either let's say a less avid reader, I would say that this shelf is the way to go, because I don't want to see all those blank books that I didn't read, unless of course you want to use this for multiple years. In that case, I would say use the 50 or even the 100. Especially this would be really fun to do, like a 100 books that I want to read before I die or something like that. This is also something that I would use for my BIPOC reading challenge, and I might transition over into this. Even if it's just like, if I wanted to keep this in my regular bullet journal, I could cut out the tracker and glue it into my journal. So that's an idea. All right, so let's get these. I'm gonna move these around a little bit. So if we go back to the front, I'm gonna put in the, let's say the 100 book library. Okay, and then we have some little reading bingos. Okay, so these are fun reading challenges, and I quite like that. So we have, this one's a random prompt bingo. Okay, now the downside, I'm flipping between these, is that this is the same on both sides. So you could attempt it twice, but I wish it was different. I wish they had one book bingo on one side and one book bingo on the other. But if you're looking for a way to sort of motivate yourself to read something, reading challenges are always a great way to go. Now, the create your own reading challenge, that is my jam. Like, absolutely 100%. And the good news is that this has 25 books on it. So I would use this for my 25 in 2025. So I'd put that up at the front. Then what I would do is, you could print out the cover, or you could draw in the cover, or just write in the title. I would probably print out the cover, but I would write in the book that I wanted it to go there first, and then do it sort of like that. So then they have a 4-month TBR. All right, now so the problem with this is that I can barely even set a TBR for 1 month, let alone 4 at a time. But 25 books is definitely a good size for a TBR. And you could set it for, it is for like a season almost. And if you wanted, you could just white that out, and it's a 3-month TBR, etc. And so each quarter you would set up, or not quarter, trimester, I guess, is that the right? That sounds like I'm pregnant. Every 4 months you would set a new TBR. Now, of course, if you don't read that much, maybe this is a yearly TBR, and then you just move it along with you in the course of the planner. Now, what I like about this, as someone who sets, I would say, a fairly massive TBR, is that there's a lot of options here. We've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. You have 17 books that you can put on the TBR, as well as the priority reads. Those don't have to be the same. They don't have to be the same. That is just so exciting. And so I put that in my March. And I don't expect this to replace my bullet journal by any way, shape, or form. But I do think that it's fun. Like, it's just nice to try something different. So this is 6 months, or sorry, not 6 months, 4 months of TBRs. And again, this says, I'll be clear, this says this month's. So you don't have to, you know, what you could do is if you set a really, really big TBR and you read 2 of them, just pick it up and move it to the next month. You don't have to say that it's March. like know yourself, okay? Then we have a lot of weekly logs. Oh wow, a lot of weekly logs. Okay. So I'm just gonna grab these out of the pile. So these are not for me. Mostly because, like, I mean, I do usually read on average a book a day, so I could do all of them here, but I think this might be better served if you're reading a book and you're wanting to take notes on it. So let's say you're doing it for a book club, or maybe you're doing a book review and you want to make sure that you remember super important things, but let's say maybe it's an ebook or an audiobook. That might be the best use for this. If you're like, whoa, I need to say something about that. And you could also use the back of this for, like, if you really loved it, putting more information there, or like sort of like how we would do like a review spread, or just taking even more notes. Now I don't know, it's a catch-22 because I think if they had made them back and front back, that I would want them to not be, but they're not, and I want them to be. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. But so I will say that if you're not interested in the weekly reading log, you know, they do give you 4 months worth of weeks. So this is probably like 16 to 20 pages of the insert is those. But what I do find really interesting is these monthly reading wrap-ups. So I would probably use these for the books that I really loved each month. So I'm gonna maybe, I think I would probably have like 6 that I really read and love and like super duper am amazed by each month. 6 pages, this is 36 books worth of wrap-ups. So for me, that's not nearly enough. I would not be able to do every single book that I read. Now, so if that's a priority for you, this might not be the system that you want. However, I do think that it's really useful and I really like it. So this could really help for when at the end of the year you're trying to determine what your favorite books of the year were. Well, you could look at your monthly reading wrap-up sheets and be like, well, these were the ones that I really liked. And of course, you know, if you have more than 7 books that you read and loved in a month, I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for you. What you could do is, you know, maybe prioritize to just the 5 stars, or, you know, if you have 7 of those, well, then, you know, I don't know. You could make a photocopy, or maybe you use like a dot grid insert for that. And then, I'm just trying to, so what would the last 4 months? That would be the end of June. Okay. So at the end of June, we would be making the next 4 months TBR. Okay. I'm just trying to remind myself that, like, this is for 4 months, right? And you might be able to stretch it, but you also have to keep in mind sort of like how you would use the planner. So, well, especially for me, I need to take out the January and February pages, right? Because it is currently March. And so I'll take those out. And then this is nice because I have my 4-month TBR like right there. So what I would use this for is I would look at what books are coming out in March through June that are like really, really, really must read. That's how I would use this. And I'll probably do maybe some reels or some Instagrams trying to sort of make this work for me. And I might also use this as sort of a way to keep an idea list going for like what I want to read in future months and, you know, what library holds are coming in, and then use this to make my bullet journal. Now, let's look at some of the other stuff. So, we have a habit tracking challenge. All right. And so, I liked this one because there was a lot of space for like graphs. All right, and then we have lots of information on how to do your tracking, things to track. Oh yeah, and these are some of the ideas. Okay, I'm just kind of flipping through. So then they have okay, if I only had 5 habits to track, what would I do? How to kind of like narrow it down. And they give you a good number of these sheets to sort of help you narrow down the habits that you want to do. And then on the back of each one is the tracking. So how I would use this for like book tracking, honestly. So I would track if okay, let's just sorry, I'm just laughing at myself. So what I would track is if I read before bed, if I listened to an audiobook, maybe if I bought a book, if I made a request on NetGalley. Those would be the sort of things that I would track there. And then these are usually, they have some suggestions, right? They would suggest using it for your mood, your weather, your sleep. You could use it for the star rating of the book that you're reading, or like how you're feeling about the book that you're currently reading. And I don't know if Daily Grind sells tabs, but I would very much like to have like monthly. They probably sell monthly dividers, or I could make my own with some scrapbook paper pretty easily as well. But that would be useful for me to know exactly where the months are. And again, I believe that this is sort of on a 4 to 5 month system. Like you don't get an entire year's worth of habit tracking, at least that I've encountered thus far. And you know, if you take a second, you're like, okay, well, am I gonna habit track for an entire year? I don't know. Now, flipping back to my little March beginning, right? This is where we were in the month. Okay, so now we have a weekly routine builder, which I definitely think I want to go through this and sort of like figure out what I want my routine to be like every day, morning, afternoon, evening, and night. Just because like I want to figure out my skincare routine. Maybe I could go into like really big details there, in terms of like what products am I using, how did I like it, etc. And then on the back of that, what do we have? So we have like, what habits are you sticking to? What areas and why am I falling short? Am I falling shorts? What is going well and where can I improve? Based on the trends and assessment of this week, any ideas for next week? Any thoughts on this week's goals, habits, and routine? Okay, so now we have a lot of weekly routine builders. In the habit tracking, this is most of your insert pack, all right? So, you know, keep in mind that if that insert isn't something you're interested in, that, you know, there's a lot of the inserts that you're not going to be using. Now, this is what I'm really interested in. I love A Year in Pixels. So I'm gonna put these at the beginning. Although I think I probably only need one for now. Oh, I really like that, you know, there are duplicates, so that if I really like this and then next year I don't have to buy a new insert pack necessarily, I could just take this and use it again next year. How I would use this for reading is I would do a year in pixels by genre. So what genre book am I reading every day in January, every day in February, March, etc. And then you get to see a really cool like pixel art tracker thing. And so in order to do that, I am going to have to put down, right, because I don't want it to be a habit tracker. I want it to be a year in pixels, or like reading in pixels. I would probably put some sticker paper down there with like some nice lettering on top of it. But again, that's just a way that you could adapt this insert for reading, because that's sort of how I'm trying to use this. Now, the big thing, this is like their sort of claim to fame is the daily grind sheets. So I don't know if this is, this is a planner. So this is the first planner that you'll use from cover to cover. It's a 4-month customizable dot grid, and this will sort of show you, they'll walk you through all of like how to set it up. So if this is definitely like a goals planner. So if you're not into the goals stuff, you don't have to get this, and that's okay. I very much am. All right, but now, so I'm looking at this and I don't know what all of these things are. Like, these are their sort of their areas of life. So those are the career, romance, health, family, friendship, growth, environment, finances, contribution, and creativity. I don't know what contribution means. Oh, my contribution to others. Okay, that's fine. And so you rate where you are in that category right now, and then say, where are you today? What can you do well? Where do you waste time? For me, it's playing match 3 games on my phone. What would make me happiest, and your priorities for the next 4 months. Then you make 4 months of goals. And I don't think that you need to do all of these here. Like, I don't need to set my June goals in March, because I don't know how my March goals went. So potentially I might put some sticky notes in here saying like, okay, in June, I know that I have a goal of going swimming at the beach, maybe. Like, that's something I might do. And then, okay, so at the end of the month, you fill out your completed goals and you make a little scorecard of how many goals you did, and you can calculate your productivity scorecard. Okay, that's interesting. Then here you can sort of, I think this is more useful for me, is that you can plan out your dates and deadlines as well as important goals. These should be somewhat time sensitive. So if you know that you have like things going on at work or vacations, we would do something here. Okay. Now, this is for a specific month. What you would do then is you would, let's say for January or March, you would go through your goals, you would have your calendar, any important dates, things you're excited about, what your priorities are, your thoughts and ideas. Okay. Now, this is where we get into sort of like the meat of the planner, and this is, wait, what? Oh, I'm confused. I'm very confused. One moment, please. Oh, okay, I understand now. So you take your top 10 goals for the month and you would write them there, and you would break them into your top 10 to-dos for today. So, if I want to be able to cook a new recipe by the end of the month, well, maybe one of my to-dos would be to research recipes. And then this is like a daily sheet. And then you make your game plan, your top 3 movers, which I believe is like your top 3, like these are your priorities, these are the things that will really give you momentum, and then some other things. Okay, and so this is like your weekly setup here, and then you have a number of daily pages associated with that week. Okay, then you get to the end of the week and you have a week in review. So you would say, like, how would you rate your progress with your goals, your routine, mood, happiness, water intake, etc. I like that little currently reading element. And then we go into another week. So now I'm just gonna check really quick. I just want to see like what happens at the end of the month. I don't know if there's like an end of the month area. Okay, not that I've found, but at the same time, you might just instead go back to that original page. That mantra one is, yeah. So then it is just, this is the planner, right? This is the goals focused planner. You have your daily pages and then your weeklies. Okay. Now, I'm not entirely sure, you know, especially for a reading journal, how I would incorporate this. But it is something that I'm interested in, and I think, you know, I'm gonna sort of keep this in the back of my mind. Or maybe just like when I really need to push forward, I might pull out some of the daily sheets. That would be really interesting. Okay. All right. So this was my like unboxing and honest first look review of the Daily Grind planner inserts, and yeah, let me know what you think of my sort of my weird setup of the reading journal, and what you think of the system, and as always, happy planning.